So, in today's video, we're going to update you on the 2021 cost of living for West Michigan.
There's been a lot that has changed in the past year, and you're going to want to follow this.
Absolutely, so stay tuned. All right, so welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Kevin Irwin.
And I'm Ross Young.
We are local real estate agents here in the West Michigan area. If you are brand new to this channel, we go over anything and everything that has to do with living and thriving here in the West Michigan area. So if you're looking to make a move here, or maybe you do live here, make sure you give us a shout right here. This number is a direct line to us. We are the guys that pick up the phone. And the guys, as much as we love making these videos, we love helping you way more. So do not hesitate to reach out to us. So without further ado, let's jump into cost of living 2021.
Right. And it's only fitting for us being real estate agents. I think we should jump right into what is the real estate costs? How have they changed?
Yep. Because obviously if you guys are going to move here, you need to know how much it's going to cost to buy a house.
Right. So when you look at the numbers over the past year, we've actually went up about 14.5% over in the last 12 months. The average sales price right now is about $294,000.
Now that sounds great for people that live here and that are looking to sell, but people coming in to buy, a 14% increase hurts.
Right.
And you may be looking, and we say $294 for an average sale price, and maybe in your area it's $675,000. That's the cool thing about West Michigan, because even though it has gone up significantly, we still have one of the lowest costs of living in the U.S.
Yeah, really on average, we're about 12 to 13% lower than the national average.
Yep.
So it's still very affordable to move to West Michigan.
If you're moving to this area, or maybe you already live here and you want to build a house, a big change from a year ago to now is lumber prices.
Yeah.
I know it's countrywide, the lumber prices have gone up, but they have gone up a lot here in West Michigan. My wife and I are building a brand new pole barn, and we quoted it out about 6 months ago, and then we pulled the trigger on it about a month ago, and I figured the quote would still be good. Well, no, it wasn't. They added $1,500 to our quote for lumber price increases. So
we're seeing that a lot with, especially like spec houses and stuff, these builders that have preset prices for different houses. I mean, custom builders, you're going to get, once you get through the plans and stuff, they're going to give you a price on it. But these spec builders, they have already floor plans picked out that they build in their communities. And when you go to, bring somebody to buy one of their houses, they have to really determine when the house is going to be started, going to be completed,
right, and
kind of forecast out what the lumber costs and building costs are going to be, because things have risen so incredibly much right now.
Yeah. So, it's really just, we got to have conversations about this. If you are wanting to build a new house, let's get in touch soon so that we can get you locked into a price before they go up more.
Absolutely. I think the next thing we should really go over is, food. I mean, how much does it cost to fill your fridge? I mean, once you have a house, what does it cost to actually live here? Now, as far as grocery costs and stuff, we're still about 5% lower than what the national average is. And it all depends on which area you're moving here from. My sister moved back here from California, and that was one thing that they said that they missed was the food prices. I mean, they were able to, obviously they're moving here from California.
That's way higher cost
San
of living.
Francisco, of all places. So it was a lot cheaper for them to fill their fridge than what it was in California.
I don't know if Aldi is everywhere, but that is a local food grocery store here.
Discount store.
Basically, the way the owner talked about that grocery store is he wants the highest quality food for the cheapest prices.
Right.
And if you are moving to the West Michigan area, that's where my wife and I do majority of our shopping. I mean, we can fill our cart and spend $150, where if you fill your cart at Meijer, that's probably going to be $400.
I think another thing we should really tell people is what kind of stores would you find? Like, what kind of grocery stores would you find in this area? I know a big staple for West Michigan is Meijer.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't know, if you're not from the area, west or the Midwest, Meijer is a lot like what a Walmart would be.
Right.
You have pretty much everything in the store. You have grocery section, you have clothes, you got a little bit outdoor stuff, and all this necessities. But it's something that started here in West Michigan.
Yep, it did. It's local to West Michigan. They've grown very well. They're a very nice grocery store, but they have everything else there too. I mean, they've got toys and video games and gaming consoles and clothes, all of your beauty products, outdoor stuff. So if you don't want to go to Walmart, that is a oh. We also have Walmart. Do not worry.
Yeah.
People of Walmart is still here. So. But in all reality, we do have a lot to choose from. So, I would not worry about your grocery costs because I think you're going to save a little bit of money. And speaking on that, we actually have a new tool that we can actually plug in your area of where you live and show you the difference between, let's say you live in Portland, Oregon. We'll plug in Portland, Oregon. We'll plug in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and show you the difference of the cost of living that you're going to see coming here.
Right.
So it's a pretty cool tool.
It's kind of overall broadcast.
So if you guys do want to know that information, maybe you're not looking to move, but if you're curious, just throw it down in the description, and we'll make sure we get you the difference between your area and ours.
All right, so the next thing that you really want to pay attention to, especially when you're looking to buy a house here, is utilities. Mm-hmm. On average, utilities are about the same price as the national average, but you still have to consider we have winter.
Right, and that's why utilities here, you're not really going to save much because our winters are pretty brutal.
Yeah.
So you're going to go through a ton of natural gas and or propane during the winter time.
Yeah, we don't see too much fuel oil anymore.
No, it's very few houses still have fuel oil left if you even know what that is. There is some out in the country here that still run fuel oil.
Yep. And actually, now that we're speaking of it, there are ways to mitigate these costs as well. Yep. You can set up on like a budget plan with your energy provider.
Yep.
That way it kind of levels things out. So that way you're not looking at $200-$300 statement in the winter months and then only pretty much nothing during the summer months.
Right.
So they also have plans where they look at the the average use of the house and kind of flatten the curve throughout the whole year.
That way you're only paying for, basically whatever it is for the entire year. They split it up 12 months. So It ends up being a lot cheaper. Not cheaper. It just seems cheaper each month.
Yep. A little bit better manageable. And another thing we got to talk about is actually air conditioning during the summer. It does get hot in Michigan.
Yes.
We are not just cold here. It does get hot. And during the summer months, I would say like June, July, August, it gets pretty blistering hot at times. You could have 90-degree days, lots of humidity, and you're going to have AC costs associated with that. So,
and that's why we say that our utility costs here are not the cheapest in the country, because that's one of the things that people love about West Michigan is we have the best of all four seasons. So if you like hot, you like humid. I don't like humid. I don't mind hot, but golly, those days during the summertime here when it's 100% humidity and 94, that's sticky. Very sticky. One other thing that I want to mention, if you are savvy or like to work hard, you can cut your own wood. I mean, a lot of people here burn wood for heat, especially if you want to live out in the country and you have propane and you don't have a house that's super well insulated, you're going to go through a lot of money in propane. So a lot of people get wood boilers or pellet stoves, and that is another way that you can,
that's a good
have
point.
A cheaper heating costs.
That's a good point. All right, so I think the next thing we should talk about is healthcare costs.
Yep.
Now, people that are not from Grand Rapids, a lot of people actually don't know this, but Grand Rapids is actually a main hub for medical facilities, and not only medical facilities but also research. We have a whole cancer research center, heart center, things like that. We have
Women's Research Center.
Right. We have what they call the medical mile downtown.
The medical mile is something that you absolutely have to see. We'll throw in some drone footage of the medical mile, but it literally is a mile of massive hospitals and medical facilities. We have a state-of-the-art children's hospital here, a state-of-the-art hospital, a state-of-the-art cancer research center. Everything is down there at Medical Mile, and it actually is a very beautiful thing to drive through. The children's hospital is really cool, which they tried. I mean, obviously our kiddos, we want them to feel comfortable walking into a hospital. So they have made the hospital here in Grand Rapids very, very inviting. So when your kids, God forbid something happens and you need medical attention for them, they're not coming in there scared. It's a very welcoming, kid-friendly environment.
Yep. So if the downtown life is for you, you really like the medical mile, you say you're a medical professional that's looking to move to the area, the next big question is, what kind of transportation opportunities is there? Some people, when you live right downtown, you really don't want to have a car because downtown parking can be kind of
expensive and annoying.
So there is the Rapid, and the Rapid runs, I think, all the way up to Big Rapids, what you're saying.
Yeah, there is a bus that goes up to Ferris State University, but the Rapid is all over Grand Rapids. So if you want to move to the city and you don't want to live out in the suburbs, you can get anywhere and everywhere on the bus routes.
Yep, and that bus route also runs all the way down Lake Michigan Drive, which goes out to Grand Valley State University.
Yep,
another local college, and I think they're actually looking to expand it out to Holland even.
And that's the cool thing about West Michigan. And if you've watched some of our other videos, we talk about this all the time. It is like a grid system, and that really helps out with the bus routes, and you're able to get to places quickly. So even if you're going to go ride the bus, you're getting to your destination relatively quickly.
In Grand Rapids, you really shouldn't expect to see taxis everywhere because it's just not a big thing here. We are a medium-sized city, I would say. We're not a large city by any means. We're not Chicago or New York where you have yellow cabs everywhere. Right. Uber does have a good presence here. So, there are opportunities to, if you want to go out in the town some night, there are opportunities to get places without having to drive. Yep. Or things like that. So and overall, I think it's 5% lower. Our transportation cost is about 5% lower than what the national average is.
Right, and I would think that it's cheaper just because of that grid system, and the buses are able to, pretty much go straight lines instead of having major stop and go traffic where it's costing more money. So your transportation costs on that front are going to be a little bit cheaper.
Right. So, bring us on to the next one is going to be miscellaneous items.
Yep.
This includes like clothing, repairs, entertainment, restaurants. On average, we're about 1.3% lower than the national average. And it's really not that surprising because Amazon and online shopping has really kind of standardized the whole industry, as far as what pricing goes. To be competitive, you got to kind of compete.
So a lot of the main stores like Target and Sam's Club or Costco or a lot of those places, you're probably not going to find cheaper prices. If you're looking for, I guess, local stuff, we have a ton of that to offer because a lot of the suburbs around West Michigan have little downtown shops. So if you wanted to get something different and not spend the money you would have spent anyways, it might as well buy it on Amazon.
Right.
There's a lot of those opportunities to go support local businesses, and that's going to put food right on their tables.
Kind of going back to the restaurant factor, though, we have a lot of little breweries and stuff around town, which also a lot of places serve their own food. I think there's only a couple of them that don't serve food, but as far as pricing goes, from these like little dives and brews and stuff, they're pretty comparable to what you would find out of state.
Yeah, we go to breweries all the time. Typically, we're spending right around $40 to $45 for a meal for my wife, myself, and our little daughter. So I usually get a beer or two.
Right.
We get a decent meal, and that's typically what it costs.
Yep.
So if you're into that, you're not gonna spend a ton of money. All right. So overall, we went over a lot of different things today. Overall, the West Michigan area is about 12 to 13% lower when you look at everything. So, if you are sick of, spending a ton of money on just living, if you're in Colorado or California, some of these high-end places, put West Michigan on the map to at least check out because we have a ton of jobs here. There's a lot of stuff to do here. We have a ton of fun here in West Michigan. So if you are thinking of moving here and you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us right here at this number. That does dial directly to us. If you have any more questions about the cost of living, throw a question down in the comment section and we will answer those. All right, guys, if you need anything, don't hesitate. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
See ya.